This is video 8 of my conversion and my experiences in the LDS Church. In my last video, I talked about my first marriage to Rebecca Lindberg. So, right off the bat, we were starting to have some issues come up. And I didn't know this at the time, but I was diagnosed with PTSD and it was unresolved. Like I was still suffering from a bunch of stuff from trauma in my early life. And so we're having these issues and I'm trying to get us to go to counseling. She won't go to counseling with me. I'm like getting very depressed. I started using antidepressants, and I was on them for a while. And I was a driver for Barney Trucking at the time, and my job was to take coal from Skyline Mine to Pilot Peak, Nevada, and then get a load coming back from Skyline to Magnecore, not Skyline, from Pilot Peak to Magnecore. And I worked 5 or 6 days a week. We didn't have a lot of money, and instead of just getting our own house, she had this bright idea that we could house sit for people. So like, I'm trying to live in this house, it's not mine, with her, and we would get in these stupid arguments, and she had this, she wanted to know about things, about my past, and I would tell her everything. And I don't think that she believed me that I was telling her everything, because she would ask me questions that I didn't have answers to, and it would frustrate me. I'm like, why? I don't know what to tell you. I'm just telling you everything that I can tell you, and like, you can't just take that, and accept me. I mean, I'm a Temple Recommend Holding Mormon. Like, I'm not cussing and swearing like I used to do, like I still do now. I mean, I'm on the straight and narrow, man. And I'm trying to do all of the things and support her. She's still going to university at the University of Utah. And we lived in 2 different houses that we were house sitting. And it was just stupid. And anyway, there was an incident that I was very upset about on a Saturday night. On the last day of my shift, I had 1 day off, and I needed to wash my clothing on Sunday morning so that I could hang them up so they could dry in the basement where the clothesline was. And so my clothes would be dry by Monday so I could go back to work. And she flipped out that I was trying to wash my clothes on the Sabbath. Another thing that had me very irritated that night was a couple of weeks before that, I tried to take her on a date, and I wanted to take her to see Wolverine, which was PG-13. And we got to the movie theater, and she threw a huge fit about how we're not supposed to watch PG-13 movies because we're Mormons, and something about my hair being too long too, because I guess it touched the collar, and that was unacceptable. Like, it was just stupid things, nitpicky crap, And the reason that pissed me off so much was I was like, fine, we won't go to a movie, we'll just go home, right? The reason it pissed me off a couple weeks later, or a week later, 2 weeks later, whatever it was, is because we went to a party, because she was in the marching band at the University of Utah, and that night the football team won, and they were all having this party, and we were watching Pirates of the Caribbean, which was PG-13. We sat there on the couch and watched a PG-13 movie with her friends, and I was stressed out about this incident that happened where I was run off the road by somebody. They were looking right at me, and they decided they needed to be in my lane. they ran me off the road. And like it was just bad experience. Anyway, so and now we're at this party until 3 o'clock in the morning, and we're watching a PG-13 movie, and that was okay. But when I wanted to take her to a PG-13 movie, I got this lecture about how we're not supposed to watch PG-13 movies. So it's hypocritical as all hell. Which, she's a Mormon, so anyway. So Sunday morning comes along. We get home. I try to go and do my laundry, which is covered in coal dust, and I'm not allowed to wash my clothes on the Sabbath. And I don't want to fight with her, so I was like, fine, I won't wash my clothes. Well, we get up about 7 or 8 in the morning, and she says, I have to go into work, and I will be back before church starts at noon. She had to cover for somebody or something was going on. So it's okay for her to work on Sunday, but it's not okay for me to wash laundry. Whatever. I knew I needed to get my clothes done. We didn't have a dryer, so I went and did my laundry. And when she got home, she went down in the basement where the laundry was, and she got very upset and started screaming at me about how horrible I am, that I'm not on a team with her, and that I'm doing my laundry on the Sabbath, and just, it was ridiculous, So we had this fight, and I'm trying to, calm her down, to appease her. She goes to church. I went with her. We lived a block away from the church. We walked to church. In the sacrament, she goes and sits on the back row that's full, all the way full, and there's only enough room for one person to sit where she sat, and she sat there, and I was like, just petty, stupid, childish, immature little games, And anyway, I don't remember if I sat next to her or sat somewhere else. And then in Sunday school, she did the same thing, and I blew up. And I was like, I don't even remember. I just remember I was pissed. And I was like, what is your problem? I have one day to do my laundry, and you freak out because I washed my clothes on the Sabbath? And, it has to dry, what is your problem? Anyway, so I went home and I called my mom, and let me tell you, my mom is a bitch. I'm sorry if you're offended by that, but I cannot stand that woman. I haven't seen her in, it'll be 2 years in November. I hate the woman. I wish I didn't hate the woman, but things that she did to me sexually and other things that she did to me mentally after or when I was a child, and then just ugh. But I keep trying to have this relationship with this woman. Anyway, so I call her, and she's like, I don't know why you married her. She's crazy. And, she's, just making it worse. So I'm like, okay, I can't talk to her. So I called Rebecca's mom, and she tried to, calm me down, and she was going to talk to Rebecca and all these things. And when Rebecca gets home, she won't talk to me. And I'm going to have to go to the next part. But this is the last day I wanted to be married to Rebecca Lindbergh. I told her that day I wanted a divorce, and that was the end of our marriage. And I'll talk about that in the next part.